What up? What's up, guys? Andrew Bishop here with a quick video review of the movie Left Behind, Nicolas Cage's version. I could talk probably 15 minutes in this video about an in-depth review, but I just wanted to make it brief and quick. Should you go see the movie? Sure, if you want to. I'll be honest, Kirk Cameron, I think, did better justice to the whole idea of Left Behind than Cage did. Nicolas Cage was a classic Nicolas Cage acting role, very predictable. In this review right now, I'm setting all beliefs aside. I'm just filming it from a movie critic standpoint. So set faith aside for this review. Nicolas Cage played his Nicolas Cage role. I'm not the biggest Nicolas Cage fan. Kudos to him for, being an actor and making it in Hollywood, and maybe I'm just bitter. But it was Nicolas Cage at his best, which is Nicolas Cage. Okay, I'm done. Anyway, it was a good movie. It wasn't one of those movies where, I feel like I don't think it had as big of an impact as Passion of the Christ did, Mel Gibson's film, only because I don't think there was that fear or shock factor like there was in Passion of the Christ. I think the gruesomeness, if you will, of the crucifixion of the cross and of Christ is a little bit more in detail, and I think works and stirs the emotions of people more so than people in a film just, vanishing and disappearing. And to be honest with you, just as a film, someone who has this degree in broadcasting, man, I just felt like there was so many just cheesy and corny things in this film that really made that impact or that stir of emotion not get stirred up. So sure, like kids vanishing and all that, yeah, like absolutely. It's like, oh my gosh, like what happened, right? But the fact that there were so many cheesy parts, like let me just give you a couple examples. For starters, there's a scene where a school bus falls off of a bridge. Well, the bridge, they showed a wide shot of the bridge. The way the bridge was set up is there really wasn't a way for this bus, because let's say the driver and all the kids got raptured, which it appeared to be that way. The bus was traveling on a bridge, right? Like this, like a normal bus would travel. But the way it fell off the bridge wasn't at an angle. So it was just like it fell off like perpendicular. It was an impossibility. And so the dramatic scene of, oh my gosh, like were there kids in there, was completely taken away, because you're like, if that bus did fall off the bridge, it would come at an angle. It wouldn't come straight off. So that was just like one minor thing. But there was many other things. Like, for example, there, if the rapture happened and I had a child and I didn't get raptured, and my child had gotten raptured, I wouldn't, like, for example, the scene happens, the girl's in the mall, Chloe, she's in the mall, her brother gets raptured, she's looking around, she, like, looks in the backpack, like, did he go in there? She, like, checks the backpack 4 times, which I think once was enough. I don't think he's gonna reappear, but that was just crazy long. I can't believe that lasted that long. But everyone's freaking out, and everyone's panicking and looting, and that part kind of, makes sense, such a panic. But so then the girl, like, runs, and then she goes to a hospital, like a nursery, and for whatever reason, there was someone at the nursery standing behind a curtain just for a scaring effect. Like, that just doesn't make sense. Like, if I go in a nursery, why would someone be standing behind a curtain just to scare someone coming in? It just doesn't, again, the cheesiness, the corniness. Well, then the girl, she goes to the nursery, and then she's running back home to her neighborhood. So she spent like 25, 45 minutes, right? But she's going back home, and as she's going down the street, there's like a woman holding like the blanket of, like, if she was just holding her baby and her baby just got raptured. And she's like still wailing in the middle of the street. Like, I'm thinking, you get up, you call the cops, you're not going to be in the same position 45 minutes after. I just don't think so. Again, part of the cheesiness. 2 other things. So in the movie, Chloe, obviously she's going to play the hero figure like any, 20, 21-year-old would do in that situation, be able to, save a lot of people. But so she goes after this motorcycle, and she gets this motorcycle, and at one point she climbs this bridge. She's contemplating suicide, jumping off this bridge, right, in California. And She gets to the top, but when she's climbing, like, if there really was a panic, that bridge would be packed. I don't care what time of the day it was, that bridge would be stuffed. She climbs up, you see like 1 or 2 cars just drive the speed limit by. Like, that just doesn't make sense. And in the background, you see a couple cars, like, it's no big deal, right? Like, people would be bailing, people would be going crazy. There wasn't as much panic, which, again, made it not stir up any emotions. Because, like, you're like, oh my gosh, this is nuts. And then you're like, well, that car's going 25. It's not that bad, right? Well, at one time she gets a motorcycle and she's driving through the streets. And again, this is at night. There was like maybe a little barrel on fire. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just didn't make sense. Like, the panic and whatever emotion that the director was going after to, get the audience. Like, I think I saw a quote online where it was a quote from Satan, right? And it says, please do not take unbelievers to this film, meaning that the film would, potentially get conversions. And I'm not saying God can't speak through films like this, but what I'm saying is, from a film perspective, it wasn't believable. Like, it wasn't believable. And then the last thing, of course, and this was to top it all off, and I laughed. Like, I just laughed because it was hilarious. Is so Chloe clears off this construction road, plane lands successfully, and comes 6 inches from a flammable tanker. Imagine that. Like, come on. It would be, I'll be honest with you. I would have made this review and be like, oh, go see the movie. It's so worth it. If the plane would have crashed and everybody would have died in it. I'm just being honest with you. And I think that would have made more people, I think that would have had that emotion more so at the end. The only reason they didn't do that is, I'm saying maybe they're doing a trilogy, like Kirk Cameron's had 3 movies. So if that's the case, then okay, plane didn't need to blow up, people didn't need to die. But it would have, to me, from a film, and then you have people questioning, oh my gosh, like, even during those 7 years of tribulation, there's people on the plane that didn't even have a chance to, be forgiven, right? And then you're like, oh shoot, like, I need to get my stuff together, right? Like, that would have been, from a filmmaker standpoint, see, I'm already 7.5 minutes in, I'm sorry. That would have been more believable. That would have stirred emotion more. That would have been an ending that everybody knew the plane was going to land safely. She's clearing off the runway in a truck, knocking barrels over. She's running next to explosions, right? Come on. Come on. You want to stir with our emotions. You want a film to have an impact, then don't make such a predictable ending. That's my opinion. Do I recommend see this movie? Sure. My personal recommendation would be a red box for it. So, there you go. That's my review. What are your thoughts? Ha!